She knelt in the docking bay and called me guardian, then detonated the security core to keep me safe. Aaron Cade's shift typically ended with a measly credit deduction and a lecture from station control. Today, he hauls a crate of reactor-grade scrap through Zenith Station's clearance gates, bracing for another routine fine. Oversized scanners blink red overhead. Holoscreens drizzle tariff alerts in sterile blue. His boots echo on alloy grates. Boredom and mild dread hum through his veins until a flash of violet light fractures his world. Behind him, an alien woman in tattered civilian robes emerges from a maintenance niche, soot smearing her pale skin. Her eyes burn with desperate relief as she lunges forward, gripping Aaron's arm. "Guardian, you must protect me," she whispers, voice trembling like a dying star. He tries to pull away. Her grip is iron, but before he can protest, the station shudders. Alarms shriek. Holographic stripes across the bulkheads glitch and die. The security core has been sabotaged. Automated doors slam shut, turrets grind offline, and frantic lights blink in chaotic rhythm. In the ensuing blackout, drone sentries recalibrate their threat matrix, targeting every human-shaped heat signature. Their ocular sensors flare crimson, swiveling to lock onto innocent bystanders as station guards thunder down the corridors, blasters raised. Aaron's pulse races. He never signed up to be anything's guardian. His crate clatters to the deck as he stands frozen between panic and instinct. The alien releases his arm, pressing something into his palm, a slender bracelet etched with bioluminescent sigils. "Swear to keep me alive," she commands, voice urgent yet soft. Shock blooms as the sigil snaps closed around his wrist, its gentle pulse echoing her heartbeat. In that single vow, every station law and every scrap-hauling routine collapses. With security drones firing on crowds and guards closing in, Aaron slips the crate aside and squares his shoulders. The word guardian resonates through his mind, burden and blessing intertwined. As the sigil's glow throbs against his skin, he steels himself. He will protect this fugitive or die trying. In that violent moment, his ordinary life fractures, and the galaxy's code rewrites itself around his new purpose. Zenith Station's Iron Rule. Zenith Station hums under the iron grip of the Imperial Mandate Security Directorate, where every resident's identity tag links to loyalty protocols. Security Directorate Manual, Section 5. Corridor scanners embedded in bulkheads demand constant RIS-2 holopad verification. A single misscan forfeits your status. Citizens move with heads bowed, breaths shallow, each data imprint monitored and logged. Here, freedom has been distilled to a privilege doled out by algorithm. Ghosts behind the glass who dare not stray beyond the strict boundaries of their encoded lives. Hollow Banner Edict. Above the concourse, hollow banners flicker crimson warnings. Zero tolerance for alien insurgents. Reward for information. Projected across worn steel panels, the edict under Imperial Propaganda Directive 47A sows distrust like an infectious code. Neighbors cast wary glances at one another, eyes glinting with suspicion. Informants lurk behind every corner. In this environment, trust dissolves into fear, each passerby a potential betrayer, every whispered conversation a risk. Under that flickering light, humanity fights to remember unity. Lethal biometrics. Checkpoint turrets mounted at junctions pivot on trispectrum iris and thermal profiling. Defense Tech File 22B. A single unregistered alien signature triggers an immediate lethal response. A streak of blue energy that sears through crates and bodies alike. The crowd recoils with collective dread, breathing sharply as survivors scramble for cover. No civilian override exists, no appeal. In the shadow of those chrome barrels, one mistaken heartbeat becomes a death sentence. And compliance is the only safe harbor. Aaron's quip. Aaron ducks behind a looming freight cradle, heart banging in his ribcage. He breathes out a shaky laugh and mutters, "Guess I just got a new charge." His respirator fogs in his panic, but his wry wit slices through the terror, anchoring him to reality. the crates stacking shadows across his hardened gaze. He grips a jagged edge to steady himself. Humor becomes his shield, an ember of humanity flickering against the oppressive machinery of war. Refugee ranks. Down a side corridor, huddled refugees queue at ration dispensers stamped Galactic citizens only. Under the Civil Relief Act, Article 12, even basic sustenance hinges on loyalty status. Bowed heads and trembling bowls reveal desperation born of ration survival. Their whispers, pleas for mercy, are swallowed by the echo of marching boots. In that line, sorrow and shame blend. Each person's worth weighed in credits and compliance rather than compassion or need. Comm scrubbers. Above the hub, magnetic scrubbing drones patrol, emitting counterwave pulses that erase unauthorized comms in real time. CommSEC Report, 2299. Unregistered frequencies dissolve into static before a single plea for aid can form. Holopads flicker blank, voices cut mid-sentence, and the drones drift on silent zephyrs of control. In their wake, isolation deepens. No ally can answer a call. No echo can carry hope. Here, connection itself is forbidden territory. Breach of the core. Amid the wreckage of a dismantled security console, Erin's fingers brush a jagged breach, evidence of her sabotage. Embedded in dangling circuitry is a glowing crimson data shard, pulsing like a heartbeat. Pocketing the fragment, he feels its warmth against his palm. Proof of defiance carved in a station code. That shard carries hope encoded in binary rebellion, a spark capable of igniting systems and hearts once shackled by fear. Reminders of complicity. Every scanner ping and whip-crack glare from passing officers echoes in Erin's mind. He's now an accessory to the gravest crime this station has seen. The bio-sigil on his wrist pulses with each data sweep, sinking to every flicker of suspicion. Oaths of allegiance war with creeping guilt, his vow to protect outweighing every imperial decree. As he steps forward, the station's machinery of oppression whirls around him, and Erin steels himself. Complicity is a choice, but so is rebellion. In the dim glow of Zenith Station's sub-level delta, 3 maintenance shafts. Erin's childhood hiding place beneath the cargo decks. He guides her past hissing steam vents and flickering hazard lights. Maintenance logs, sub-level Delta 3. This narrow tunnel once sheltered him from enforcement bots. Today it cradles an alien fugitive pressing her forehead to the cool metal of a condensate pipe. His breath hitches as steam jets hiss through grated floors, painting their faces in ghostly white. Every red hazard stripe, smeared with grime, seems to warn. Yet Erin steps forward, vulnerability resurfacing as formative fears transform into a purpose. Protect rather than evade in the station's underbelly. Erin tears a med patch from his satchel, straight from the Imperial Med Corps Field Kit Manual, Section 5, and presses it to her bleeding forearm. The patch hisses antiseptic foam, flooding torn flesh with cooling relief. She winces, lips parting in a small, grateful smile that softens his tension. His grease-smudged glove hovers as she brushes her pale fingers over it, a gesture more profound than any vow. Around them, hazard lamps flicker in time with his thudding heart. In that fleeting exchange, patch sealing wound, eyes exchanging trust, compassion triumphs over fear, forging a fragile alliance in a tunnel built for secrecy rather than salvation. Her voice is a hoarse whisper. I owe you my life. Erin exhales a shaky laugh, wiping sweat from his brow. I don't even know your name, he retorts, tone brittle as recycled station air. Their banter cracks the ice between them, 2 strangers bound by chaos. Emergency lamps cast dancing shadows across their faces as she tilts her head, amber eyes glinting with reluctant amusement. For a heartbeat, the helmet's visor reflections blur, replaced by something resembling relief. In that sardonic crack of humor, hope flickers. Even amidst alarms and sabotage, human connection endures, defying the station's algorithms and the darkness closing in around them. Under the pulsing glow of emergency lanterns, Conversation fades into an unspoken bond. Aaron and the alien woman stand side by side, faces illuminated by flickering light and swallowed by the tunnel shadows. The hum of backup generators and the drip, drip of condensate punctuate their stillness, mimicking a mechanical heartbeat. Fear and resolve intertwine in their locked gazes. Words feel superfluous when lives hang in the balance. In that shared silence, trust is forged stronger than any code, two fugitives united by circumstance and choice. Their breathing synchronizes, each inhale a pact, each exhale a vow to face whatever comes beyond the next corridor bend. Aaron jabs at a hacked oxygen vent valve according to the station ventilation schematic. Module 12. Rerouting cool, fresh air into their corner of a shaft. A soft hiss heralds the shift as vaporous currents swirl around them, carrying relief in every chill-laced breath. They inhale deeply, tension easing from their shoulders as the station's stale air is replaced. Steam coalesces in gentle eddies, and for a moment, the whirl narrows to two fugitives sharing stolen respite. In that fleeting reprieve from prying sensors and patrol droids, hope blossoms, each breath a tiny rebellion against the oppressive atmosphere above. Over the hiss of recycled air, Aaron leans close to her ear, voice low and certain. "I'll get you off this rock, Guardian." His words ripple through the vented shaft, masked by the whoosh of rerouted airflow, reclaimed systems protocol. In the cramped corridor, his promise hums against her core's residual warmth. She presses a hand to her chest, where the bio-sigil bracelet pulses in time with his vow. The station's alarms and distant drone footsteps fade into background noise. In that intimate murmur, anchored by the steady rush of life-giving air, trust cements itself, forging an unbreakable link between pilot and fugitive. A patrol droid's servos clank in the distance, its infrared sensors sweeping the corridor. Instinctively, she ducks behind Aaron. He steps forward, body taut, fist clenched. The droid's crimson eye flares as it locks onto their heat signatures, but Aaron's proximity to her masks both in its scanning protocols. Patrol D-17 tactical manual. He guides her behind a grated maintenance hatch as the droid's searchlight passes. In that heartbeat standoff, two silhouettes framed by hazard stripes. They stand firm, bound by a whispered oath. His vow to protect and her trust in that promise crystallize into a pact stronger than any law the mandate can impose. Aaron ducks beneath the hatch and hacks a utility terminal, fingers flying over scratched interface keys. Strings of code scroll as he overrides door lock protocols, pulling from station utility grid diagram, access panel 45B. Lights flicker green. The bulkhead rumbles open to reveal a tangle of service conduits mapped in his youth. That makeshift escape route, once a secret he used to evade petty fines, now carries them toward freedom. She slips past him, silhouette lit by the console's glow, while he pauses to scan behind. In that moment, childhood knowledge is repurposed for salvation, and the station's engineered labyrinth becomes a highway away from tyranny. They slip into the yawning service duct, silent echoes of recirculated air enveloping them. Aaron leads, backlit by the bulkhead's opening, the bio-sigil pulsing steadily on his wrist. The corridor's pipes and cables form a cathedral of escaping hope, each footstep a defiant beat against the mandate's machine. Their silhouettes recede into darkness as the hatch clangs shut, engines above threatening pursuit. But in that moment, they move as one, fugitive and guardian united by choice. Through the station's underbelly they vanish, forging a new fate in the shadowed veins of Zenith Station, two renegades bound by dignity and defiance. In the bowels of Courier Pod C-47, decommissioned after the mandate's purge of private carriers, station decommission logs, 2312, Aaron slots the crimson data shard into a corroded port. The pod's walls flare with cascading encrypted firewalls, security protocols long dormant, illuminating his gaunt features in flickering red light. He watches as the shard's bioluminescent circuits bridge forgotten subspace channels to the pod's core CPU, data streams dancing across rusted panels and cracked hollow glass. Heart pounding, Aaron realizes he's unearthed a secret cache of rebel intelligence untouched for decades. Curiosity warps into apprehension. Whatever lies encoded here could ignite a revolution or doom them both. As the firewalls pulse open, the biosigil bracelet's ancient symbols resolve into three-dimensional holographic schematics. Air around them shimmers with floating blueprints tracing hidden corridors, covert supply caches, and encrypted comm beacons belonging to the clandestine rebel network, known only as the Luminous Fist, Rebel Archive Fragment 9. Tendrils of light connect each node, like constellations across the station's underbelly. Aaron's breath catches. This is far more than an escape map. It's a lifeline for the oppressed, showing every secret safe house from Zenith's black market veins to orbital relay sanctuaries. Awe and empowerment surge through him. A spark of defiance ignites in his chest. Stepping from the shadows into the pod's glow, the alien at Aaron's side raises her chin. "I'm Sarah's call," she announces, voice steady yet tinged with sorrow. She is heir to a throne overthrown by the Imperial Mandate decades ago, a lineage preserved only in stolen dynastic registries. Shade Sector Edict. Aaron's pulse hammers as he reads the crest-shaped sigil tattooed on her wrist, half hidden beneath soot and grime. Pride and reverence swell in his throat. He is no longer guarding a stranger, but the living legacy of a fallen monarchy. In that moment, he understands the magnitude of the oath he has sworn. Hollow recordings burst to life around them, each projection a shard of Ceres's past. She strides through Capitol plazas, leading peaceful protests where her people's hymns rise, until Imperial enforcers open fire, turning banners into bonfires and songs into screams. Dominion Chronicle, Volume 3. The footage blurs with gunfire, banners collapsing in clouds of ash, Ceres's voice cracking as she pleads for mercy. Aaron feels her anguish as though it were his own, the memory of massacre etched into every gene of that colony. Grief and righteous anger coil in his gut, forging an unspoken vow to stand by her through whatever horrors may come. Encrypted directives cascade across the viewport in harsh red text. Subject: Sarah's call. Terminate on sight. Aaron's breath catches as he realizes the mandate's hidden Directive 47Z has labeled her the galaxy's most wanted. Kill on sight coding chews through every security directorate AI node, turning sentries into executioners. His grip tightens on the shard as alarms whine in the background. The weight of her peril presses down. She is not merely a fugitive, but the mandate's prime target. Urgency and dread surge together. Time is no longer on their side. Ceres's holographic hand trembles as she touches the pod's console. "They erase my world, but you've given me hope." Her voice quavers through the hollow interface. A low pulse emanates from her biocore, calibrated to stabilize human stress responses. Neurosync Lab Bulletin 2319. Aaron swallows hard, the shard's glow reflecting in his determined eyes. In her vulnerability, he finds purpose. Her hope now rests in his hands. The depth of her trust knits an unbreakable bond between them. Protector and heir united by a shared dream of rebellion. A thunderous crash rattles the pod's frame as armored commandos breach the corridor bulkheads under Security Directorate Strike Directive, Section 9. Their riot gear silhouettes loom in staccato light, stun rifles humming with lethal intent. Ceres hisses, drawing back, eyes wide with alarm. The corridor vibrates with impending violence. Each bootstep echoes like a death knell. Aaron sets his jaw, heart hammering. There is no time for doubt. Only the pact he has sworn and the fight they must embrace together. "They won't take me," Ceres whispers fiercely. Aaron lunges for the hatch's locking arm, steel teeth biting into the frame as sparks fly. His transformation is instantaneous, from reluctant escort to unwavering guardian. Behind him, her silhouette steadies, shoulders squared in resolve. The commando's first stun bolt sizzles past, embedding harmlessly in the bulkhead. In that crystalline moment, defiance crystallizes on Aaron's face. They stand back to back, two outcasts bound by an oath stronger than any mandate, ready to shield the heir of a fallen kingdom with their own lives. In the hatch's hollow glow, he activates the shard-decoded data. Star map overlays flood his HUD with rendezvous points, hidden smuggler tunnels, centuries-old supply caches, and the luminous fist rebel safehouses. Network node blueprint, access level, air. Corridors in the station's underbelly glow blue, supply vaults flash red. Aaron's mind races with tactical possibilities. This is more than escape. It is the blueprint for a full-scale uprising. Each route promises arms, allies, and shelter. As the commando's staccato steps grow louder, determination steals his gaze. He will carry her to the heart of rebellion, no matter the cost. Saris presses her bio-sigil bracelet to Aaron's wrist again. Its soft glow intensifies in response. Glyphs of oath. Dr. Celine Rao, 2320. You are my guardian, she affirms, her voice unwavering. Aaron swallows, voice low but resolute. Then we rise together. Their hands meet over the sigil, twin pulses of light intertwining. In that touch, destiny shifts. Pilot and princess, protector and heir, bound by mutual trust and the forging heat of shared adversity. The corridor's shadowy gloom bears witness to a new alliance, one capable of turning the tide against an empire. Alarms crescendo as stun bolts slam into the corridor walls. Aaron yanks open the ancient freight lift and helps Saris inside. The doors clang shut in a shower of sparks, just as commandos pound the hatch frame. Inside, emergency lights bathe them in urgent red, the lift chamber rattling with activation protocols, station retrograde manual. Aaron hits the override switch. The car lurches upward. The rush of escaping air and distant clangs fade into a tense hum. Their breaths come in rapid sync, hope and adrenaline thrumming through every fiber. Fugitives on the brink of freedom. As the lift ascends, the pod's strobing lights recede. Saris's final echo rings in Aaron's ear. Lead me to freedom. He grips the railing, sigil pulsing against his wrist like a heartbeat. Below, the station's underbelly drops away, corridors blurring into shadow. Above, distant lights promise new horizons. In that suspended moment, caught between fear and hope, Aaron's resolve crystallizes. He nods once, firm and certain. Their journey has only begun, but the path is clear. Two fugitives bound by oath, rising together to kindle the rebellion's beacon across the stars. Across the station's hidden comm network, the Luminous Fist clandestine transmitter array, Beacon Array Omega, Rebel Network, Node 47, picks up Saris's bio-sigil bracelet signal. In secret caves on Vega's belt, rusted freighters at Orion's edge, and hidden hollow booths on frontier outposts, operatives see the pulse. Hollow windows flicker to life with encrypted calls to arms and instructions for rendezvous. Within moments, rebels across star systems abandon cover, gathering weapons, supplies, and resolve. Are ripples through each cell. They're not isolated pockets of resistance, but a united web of defiance. In every hidden recess, fighters steel themselves, knowing that the Guardian and his heir have ignited their hope. Across every Imperial sector, hollow alerts cascade in red and gold. Reward, 100 credits for Guardian and Host. Projected on station bulkheads, orbital pylons, and merchant docks under Security Directorate Broadcast 12B. The mandate turns fear into currency. Loyalty protocols force citizens to watch. Propaganda loops stoke paranoia as neighbors eye one another for a bounty that could erase their debts. The sirens wail in unison with each flashing aviso. Report insurgents or face treason charges. Panic grips station spines. In that storm of desperation, informants sharpen their tongues and mercenaries polish their contracts, convinced that betrayal just might pay off their passage to the core worlds. In the shadow lanes beyond official ports, Rogue captains and freelance reclamation specialists scour the Black Star Ledger for transport to Zenith's orbit. Bids skyrocket for Aegis X asset extraction teams. Secret shipyards clank with boarding torpedoes and maggot harpoon nets prime for capture. Ex-soldiers and void-hardened pirates swap prepaid contracts, adjusting armor calibrations for crowd dispersal or quiet takedowns. Each new hire brings fresh waves of danger, painting the station's skies with tracer arcs and mothership silhouettes. Predatory anticipation hums in the hull plating, knowing that every freighter, corvette, or skiff could be carrying the means to seize Ceres alive. The hunt has become a feeding frenzy. Cornered in the storm-lit hold of Aegis X, Aaron's jaw clenches until his teeth click. He bares his teeth and snarls over the roar of alarms. Let them chase us. We'll give them something to fear. His words cut through the chaos like a blade. Confidence forged from necessity. Across rusted deck plates, his shadow stretches long, steel-toed boots planted as though rooted to defy every enemy. In that moment, Aaron channels every outlaw anthem of old, echoing the Vega uprising's finest verses. Fear is no longer a chain, but a weapon aimed back at tyranny. Here, in the ship's belly, a rogue heart beats fearless in the face of imperial wrath. A crackle of static and a hooded hollow face appear on the cockpit's comm panel. Meridian Outpost offers safe harbor, the envoy intones, in exchange for Ceres's counsel. The transmission ID glows. Meridian Cell Dispatch, Channel 19 Phi. Her pixelated eyes hold promise and hidden agendas. Aaron hovers over the accept key, weighing trust against treachery. Every rebel haven comes with its own politics. Every alliance risks another shackle. Yet the lure of rest and resupply tugs at him. The envoy's plea falters in his silence, waiting. Aaron's finger hovers, decision weighing like gravity. In that fleeting pause, he knows, alliances must be earned, not brokered under duress. With a decisive tap, Aaron severs the comm link. We carve our own path, he growls, eyes hard as oxidized steel. In Zenith's labyrinthine tunnels, every sanctuary could be a mandate ambush. No hollow gate guarantee is foolproof. His lone wolf ethos asserts itself. Survival demands self-reliance, not borrowed protections. The cockpit dims as he locks down external channels. Behind him, Ceres's crest glows softly in the low light. A reminder that trust must be mutual and earned. In that moment, Aaron solidifies his vow. They will rely on each other, on the rebellion's hidden network, and on their wits. No sanctuary carte blanche will bind them. Outside Zenith's rings, a fierce meteor storm rages, iron shards blazing through the void, igniting plasma trails that blind long-range scanners. Stella Observatory Report, Xenon Belt. Aegis XS hull shudders as micrometeors vaporize on contact, shrouding the starship in a veil of incandescent sparks. Radar returns dissolve into white noise. Thermal arrays flicker and fail. Aaron pilots through the torrent, each fireball a shield against the mandate's watches. In the cockpit's hull glow, he and Ceres brace against the shuddering hull, hearts synchronized with the storm's pulse. Nature's fury becomes their ally, a chaotic cloak woven from cosmic debris. Under the storm's cover, Aaron locks trajectory on the smuggler's gate, known as the Gate of Whispers, Blackway Chronicles, Entry 3. Coordinates stagger across his HUD, quantum-etched in outlaw star charts past in hidden taverns. The ancient conduit flickers into view, a fractured ring suspended against a nebular backdrop. Perfect timing is non-negotiable. A single thruster misfire spells capture or worse. He guides Aegis X into the gate's throat, plasma vents screaming in sympathetic resonance. Sails of torn pylon energy frame the entry as hull plating ripples under subspace shear. Then, with a final surge, they slip into the uncharted outer fringe, leaving hunters in fear in their wake. Beyond the gate, Aegis X emerges into uncharted void, a dark canvas where Rebellion's banner can rise unhindered. Aaron exhales, fist still clenching Ceres's glowing sigil. Before him, swirling nebulae and distant star clusters promised new grounds for insurgent outposts. No station walls remained to bind them, only the infinite frontier. Around them, the ship's ancient subspace engines hum in defiance of the mandate's reach. In that boundless expanse, two fugitives stand at the dawn of a fresh uprising. Pilot and princess, guardian and heir, welded by purpose. Their journey has transformed into a crusade, one destined to light every shadowed world with a luminous fizz spark. Deep within Observatory Theta 12's silent dome, Aaron reactivates a cracked hollow console and threads the crimson data shard into its ancient port. The mandative archives flicker to life. Casualty logs, surveillance feeds, and encrypted field reports, evidence that Ceres's peaceful protests spiraled into pitched skirmishes. Holographic casualty counts roll in red across the curved ceiling. Thousands of civilian lives lost to break Imperial lines. Mandate Archive Dossier 2315. Star maps overlay war zones where hopeful crowds were met with plasma fire. Shock knits Aaron's heart into ice. The woman he vowed to protect is the architect of both hope and horror. Ceres staggers back, clutching her temples as tears streak through her soot-smudged face. Under the hollow glow, her shoulders tremble and she whispers hoarsely, "I wanted change, not blood." Each word cracks like glass in the silent dome. The weight of unintended carnage presses on her chest. Her regal composure dissolves into raw guilt. Aaron watches helplessly as the rebellion's bright spark flickers in anguish. In that moment, he sees not a princess or a leader, but a broken soul haunted by the price of defiance. Her pain echoing the screams etched into the observatory's crimson logs. Aaron's gaze drops to the streaming footage. Villagers huddled among collapsed columns, their eyes hollow with loss. He inhales a shaky breath and murmurs, "I'm sheltering a ghost of chaos." His voice echoes off stained glass and fractured panels, swallowed by the observatory's mechanical hum. Every moment of his duty to protect feels tainted by her legacy of bloodshed. The consoles flicker, casting his reflection alongside the casualty holograms. In that fractured mirror, he questions the righteousness of his oath. Is he aiding salvation or abetting the architect of massacre? A heavy silence settles between them, broken only by the distant purr of stellar scanners and their own ragged breaths. Emergency lanterns overhead flicker, casting long shadows that stretch like accusations across the cold metal floor. Ceres and Aaron stand at opposite ends of the hollow console, as though separated by the chasm of her past atrocities. Neither dares to speak. Each word feels too brittle, too charged. In the vast emptiness of the observatory, their bond teeters on collapsing under the weight of truth, and each heartbeat pronounces the question, can trust survive this rupture? With trembling fingers, Ceres gently removes the bio-sigil bracelet, its bioluminescent glow sputtering as though wrenched from life. She places it atop the console and whispers, "Maybe I'm doomed to doom." The sigil's light dims, heavy with her despair. Aaron's chest tightens. Her relinquishing of the bracelet feels like renouncing her own agency and threatening the fragile alliance they forged. The weight of her doubt hangs between them, more potent than any weapon. In that silent act of surrender, the question looms, can a spark of rebellion ignite from ashes of regret? Aaron steps forward, heart pounding, and lifts the bracelet from the console. With firm gentleness, he snaps it back on her wrist. "No," he intones, voice steady against the observatory's hum. "You're the spark we need." His gaze holds hers, unyielding, unwavering. In his eyes, she sees reflected hope, not horror. The bracelet pulses brighter, as if answering his conviction. In that decisive gesture, he transforms her despair into purpose. Compassion and resolve intertwine, forging a new truth. Her past does not define her destiny. Together, they will carry the rebellion's flame. Though shaken, they stand side by side as the observatory's dome roars back to life. mapping fresh star routes for the luminous fist. Shared glances convey a fragile triumph. Their pact, tempered by doubt, endures. Beyond the hollow console's glow, constellations realign into new pathways, symbols of a destiny they will claim together. The sigil on Ceres's wrist pulses in sync with Erin's heartbeat, a binary hymn of unity. In that moment of mutual reaffirmation, they transcend personal guilt and cosmic judgment. United by choice and conviction, Guardian and Heir prepare to rise against an empire that once shattered worlds, and now fears their rekindled hope. Deep in Sanctum's vaulted core, Ceres and Erin stand before the Mandate's dormant beacon console. With steady hands, they overwrite Imperial code, injecting the luminous fist's encrypted call to arms into every subspace relay. Hollow signals bloom across static-lace screens, each flickering map rebranded with the Rebellion's emblem. Fighters pause in candlelit halls as their names and coordinates echo station-wide, turning propaganda towers into clarions of freedom. In that moment, what once police thought and speech becomes the heartbeat of revolt. Empowerment surges. Every clandestine cell, from Vega's belt to Orion's edge, now hears a singular message: rise and reclaim what was stolen. Above the asteroid fortress, Sanctum's orbital corvettes awaken with roaring engines. Ionland's batteries swivel into position, firing cobalt arcs that rip through Mandate frigates, enforcing the blockade. Each weapon is tuned to shatter shield harmonics, sending cascading overloads across enemy hulls. Smoke and sparks drift into the void as cruisers reel in dismay. From Sanctum's catwalks, rebels cheer, their voices drowned by the thunder of triumphant fire. That first taste of victory crackles through the ranks. Not a mere skirmish, but a declaration. The rebellion endures. Worn uniforms and tattered banners glint in the explosion's light, forging hardened resolve. Mandate orbital platforms attempt a desperation gambit, projecting an energy barrier around Sanctum. Beneath the fortress, Ceres places her hand on the central pylon, her bio-core synced to the grid's resonance. A counterwave blooms, ripping the dome apart in a spray of fracturing light. Slow-motion cracks spider outward, armor plating and plasma shutters collapsing like glass. Debris and ionized particles drift into space, leaving the enemy exposed. All ripples through every heart. Steel and technology succumb to a single act of defiance. In that radiant rupture, Ceres proves her lineage is more than ceremonial. She is the power that shatters oppression's shields. As the barrier collapses, Mandate boarding shuttles lose their tether locks. Magnetic clamps sputter and fail. Riot armor marines plummet into the asteroid's gravity well. Rebels on deck erupt in cheers as once feared invaders become helpless captives. Plasma tracers cut through the sky, guiding rescue teams to snatch floating squads from the void. Relief and righteous joy mingle in the air. Captors now captive, their arrogance extinguished. In that reversal, the rebellion tastes vindication. The symbols of oppression have become instruments of liberation. Shackles fall, burdens lift, and in the wreckage of fallen enemies, hope takes tangible form. Inside Sanctum's cavernous plazas, rebels surge in a flood of reclaimed courage. They halt, down Mandate banners from bulkheads, stomp them into ash, and raise homemade standards in their place. Prisoners rescued from labor pens join the fray, cracking confining cuffs and reclaiming salvage tools as weapons of justice. Laughter and battle hymns clash with the clang of liberated chains. The fortress hums with renewed purpose, hardened fighters and freed civilians alike united by common cause. In every raised fist and liberated soul, grief and rage transform into action. This is not chaos. It is catharsis, the people reclaiming their destiny with every liberated step. High above, the Director's flagship drifts powerless in orbit, its engines offline after covert sabotage teams severed core conduits within Sanctum's engine vault. Mandate Engineering Logs 2319 Beta. Explosions rock docking clamps as rebels cut power lines, turning the vessel into a ghost ship. Shock and dismay ripple through enemy ranks. Command protocols collapse in silence. Below, rebel fighters roar their approval as tendrils of fuel vent skyward in orange plumes. In that moment, victory tastes sweet. The Mandate's ultimate symbol of authority is rendered impotent by the very hands it sought to crush. On Sanctum's highest rampart, Sarah steps into the oil drum brazier glow. She raises her voice, and the rebel choir answers with a hymn of the luminous fist. Flames flicker in faces of every creed and clan as smoke-choked night sky becomes their audience. Verse by verse, their voices unite, forging panic into solidarity. The music carries through tunnels and over asteroid fields, a sonic banner proclaiming liberation. Each note tethers fighter to cause, weaving personal griefs into a collective promise. In that anthem, the rebellion finds its soul, song as both weapon and bomb against the scars of war. Rebel engineers coax Sanctum's long-dormant mining drills back to life, carving new launch ports into the asteroid's heart. Heaved rock and molten metal arc in orange showers as makeshift corridors form for freed freighters. Hull plates hammered into improvised airlocks mark each passage. Once oppressive tools now deliver salvation. Below, ships slink through jagged apertures into freedom, crews waving in gratitude. In that moment, ingenuity triumphs. Instruments of extraction reborn into vessels of hope. The void itself becomes a gateway to sanctuary, each carved tunnel an act of reclamation against the Mandate's chokehold. Delegations stream down service lifts to Sanctum's central plaza, smugglers bearing contraband relief, miners offering rare ores, and retired officers pledging their uniforms. They kneel before Ceres, proffering relics and holostaves as vows of fealty. Colorful banners unfurl, merging diverse symbols into a tapestry of solidarity. Frontier traditions and rebel ideologies intertwine. Allegiance no longer bought by coercion, but earned through shared sacrifice. In that gathering, all merges with responsibility. Ceres, once an exiled princess, now stands at the helm of a sprawling coalition, each delegate's vow reinforcing the fragile but unbreakable chain of unity. Atop Sanctum's signal spire, Ceres and Aaron unfurl the first banner of the reborn alliance, a clenched fist encircled by a crescent of starlight. Trumpeters herald its unfurling, notes crackling across comm arrays and scattering moth-drifted embers into the dawn. The banner streams behind them as fighters salute from battlements, forging monarchy and movement into a single standard. In that pale morning glow, symbols solidify purpose, a new dawn for a coalition born of hope, defiance, and shared destiny. From Sanctum's comm tower, Ceres broadcasts the manifesto in a resonant tone. We break our chains so none shall wear them again. Holotext cascades across clandestine screens, from hidden bunkers to refugee camps, stirring rebel cells into action. Guerrilla bands ignite distant skirmishes. Safe houses flood with new recruits inspired by our clarion words. Manifesto transmission 2,319 ohms. In that moment, rhetoric becomes reality. Her promise writes itself into every liberated heart, echoing through the galaxy with unstoppable momentum. In orbit above Sanctum, Mandate lords watch their empire fracture. Shields blacked out, fleets scattered, edicts nullified. Silence falls across command decks as the old order dissolves in the wake of Ceres's uprising. Through the shattered blockade, rebel signals blossom like dawn's first rays across nebula-painted skies. In that hushed triumph, victory tastes like starlight, quiet, profound, and irrevocable. The galaxy's chains shatter, heralding an era defined not by empire, but by the luminous spark of freedom that Ceres' call has reignited. Imperial battalions pour from orbit to surface dropships, deploying siege artillery aimed at the hidden rebel citadels carved into the asteroid Sanctum. Massive railguns and orbital mass drivers converge, lancing molten streaks that pierce the pallid sky. The deafening roar of doomsday cannons shakes stone and steel, while defenders brace behind crumbling barricades. Mandate orders are clear. Total suppression of the insurgents, Imperial Warbook sect. 9. Dread coils tightly in every heart as hope flickers like a dying star beneath relentless fire. Sparks fly and embers rain as shells explode across Sanctum's outer walls, signaling the opening salvo of a brutal siege. With fierce determination, Aaron slams his fist down on Ceres's biosigil bracelet, igniting it as a powerful resonance beacon. Invisible waves ripple outward, reaching the dormant shield pylons scattered through Sanctum. One by one, the ancient repulsors roar back to life. Sheets of shimmering energy spring to form a dome around the fortress. The returned hum of the shields fills the air with renewed hope. This single act transforms the artillery's deafening thunder into impotent noise as the rebels once again stand protected beneath a luminous aegis. The tide begins to turn on waves of reclaimed power. Echoing through every Imperial frequency, Ceres's voice rings clear and unyielding. I renounce your laws. I stand for every silenced world. Her broadcast hijacks propaganda loops, breaking the Mandate's iron grip on communication. Across the sector, oppressed worlds pause, listening to the defiant rallying cry that shatters silence and fear. What was once a whisper of rebellion becomes a clarion call for unity and resistance. The words ripple like a rising tide, carrying the hopes and dreams of countless star systems ready to rise anew. On nearby moons, coordinated acts of rebellion erupt in fiery defiance. Refinery power cores surge into controlled detonations, sending synchronized blasts that cripple Mandate supply chains. Mining colonies ignite in blue flame sabotage, overturning the local military balance. Rebels cheer beneath streaks of orange firelight, their carefully timed explosions signaling a new era of revolt. Simple tools have become catalysts of upheaval, and every crackling inferno declares that the oppressed will no longer be silent. The rebellion's reach spreads with electric intensity. Sanctum's hidden communication arrays guide coalition frigates into treacherous gravity wells, where ambushes unfold with brutal precision. Torpedo spreads bloom in coordinated crossfire. Ionized net barges rip through enemy formations, nullifying mass driver advantages. The Mandate's once unstoppable cruisers reel under hit-and-run assaults, forced into chaotic retreats. The rebels turn hunter into hunted, their adrenaline-fueled victories flashing through orbital darkness. The skies above Sanctum become a lethal dance of light and shadow, rewriting the rules of engagement. From the fortress ramparts, Ceres watches the sky ignite in starfire and plasma bursts. Tears trace bright rivulets down her cheeks, mingling sorrow and triumph. Around her, cheers and engine roars swell into a cathartic crescendo. The air vibrates with relief and righteous joy, years of sacrifice distilled into a single, liberating moment. Ceres breathes in the charged atmosphere, feeling the weight of history give way to the promise of freedom. The rebellion is no longer a whispered hope, but a roaring reality. As Sanctum's shield pylons overload from Ceres's resonant command, Mandate dropships attempting to breach find themselves ensnared in brilliant fields of radiant energy. Micro-EMP feedback stuns engines and systems, freezing vessels mid-ascent in an eerie tableau of amber arcs. No ships land, no troops deploy. Silence replaces aggression as the glowing prison holds fast. The Mandate's might is broken not by brute force, but by the controlled light of rebellion's heart. Freedom surges in the hushed awe of defenders witnessing oppression undone. Channeling the beacon's feedback through his own biosigil bracelet, Aaron absorbs the lethal energy cascading from the pylon network. His body convulses as his life force drains into the fortress's power grid, shielding Ceres and amplifying the defense. His silhouette flickers white-hot beneath the glowing bracelet as his breath grows ragged. This ultimate act of devotion transforms Eren from protector to martyr, his sacrifice sealing the rebellion's fate. Every pulse of energy resonates with the cost of freedom, a debt paid in blood and light. With a final surge, Sanctum's databanks unleash a torrent of rebel archives across every available channel. Encoded logs and damning evidence of Mandate atrocities flood public holoscreens and secret rebel caches alike. Across starliners and hidden bunkers, citizens gasp at the unveiled horrors. Information becomes weaponized, fueling outrage and solidarity among the oppressed. The truth breaks chains as powerfully as any weapon, igniting new flames of resistance galaxy-wide. Ceres's final broadcast echoes through comms channels, her voice a rallying anthem. The galaxy answers the Guardian's call. Across star systems, voices rise in response, rebels and freedom fighters united by her words. The echo of defiance reverberates beyond war zones, inspiring hope and determination. Her message becomes a beacon in the darkness, signaling a new dawn where chains are broken and oppression confronted. The rebellion's heartbeat pulses stronger than ever. In the battle's silent wake, stars once veiled in mandate dread burn anew with promise. Pirate havens throw open their gates. Miners forge unlikely alliances, and occupied worlds tear down banners of tyranny. Cosmic vistas glow with nascent trade routes and renewed hope. The galaxy begins to heal, cautious but eager, as the rebel spark kindles vast networks of resistance. The dawn of a freer era radiates from Sanctum's battered heart, illuminating the dark corners of the universe with resilient light. At dawn, Ceres kneels beside Eren's fading form, her hand resting gently on his heart. "You saved me, Guardian. Now rest." The quiet covenant seals their bond, heir and protector intertwined beyond mortal bounds. The weight of sacrifice and victory lingers in the morning light as petals of hollow memory drift softly around them. This solemn moment marks not an end, but the enduring beginning of a legacy forged in defiance, hope, and unbreakable loyalty. Silent dawn breaks across liberated worlds, bathing the remnants of oppression in soft gold light. Imperial statues lie toppled in vast fields where wildflowers sway gently in the morning breeze, their vibrant petals weaving nature's quiet reclamation over cold stone and shattered metal. Survivors step barefoot through the blossoms, faces lifted in wonder, as the scent of fresh earth and blooming petals mingles with the mist, softening memories of conquest and hardship. In sunlit town halls, Ceres convenes councils of former colonists, miners, artisans, and ex-soldiers alike, who gather around long tables strewn with blueprints and seed packets. Hands of every shade and age work side by side, laying bricks, planting saplings, and crafting communal gardens that sprout vibrant life from ash. Children watch with wide eyes as homes and schools rise, their laughter blending with the steady rhythm of hopeful rebuilding. Light filters through freshly poured walkways where new roots take hold, promising renewal. Neighbors once divided by propaganda now sit shoulder to shoulder in circular councils, voices weaving into spirited debates under Ceres's calm guidance. The glow of a central holomap illuminates determined faces as they negotiate resource sharing and governance, embodying a fresh democracy that replaces old authoritarian decrees. The hum of discussion fills the room with the warmth of empowerment, each citizen helping to shape their shared future in this reclaimed corner of the galaxy. Yet when the Rebel Council urges Ceres to accept formal leadership, she kneels, cradling Eren's glowing sigil bracelet gently in her palm. The soft pulse of light reflects in her eyes as she quietly refuses, honoring the sacrifice he made beyond any title or power. Elders bow respectfully, understanding that true leadership here is born of service and humility, not command. The sigil pulses steadily, an unspoken covenant binding past and present. In a secluded grove, framed by ancient stone arches, wild vines curl tenderly around a moss-covered memorial etched with the names of fallen guardians. Ceres kneels, placing Aaron's sigil atop the weathered stone. A gentle breeze stirs petals and leaves as the bracelet's bioluminescent glow casts flickering light across engraved letters, transforming grief into a living tribute. The sacred silence hums with reverence as nature embraces the memory of sacrifice and renewal. At the grove's edge, Ceres whispers softly to the morning breeze, "We will honor his sacrifice." Her voice carries through the emerald canopy, answered by birdsong and rustling leaves, a natural chorus affirming the vow. Dappled sunlight filters through towering branches, casting her silhouette in shifting light. Petals lift skyward like tiny prayers, drifting on the wind, sealing a promise that will echo beyond time. Nearby, a curious child scavenges fallen petals among the blooming wildflowers and discovers the glowing sigil resting on a bed of moss. With wide, eager eyes, the child slips the bracelet onto their small wrist, a smile lighting their face as they declare, "I want to be a guardian, too." The soft pulse of the bracelet seems to respond, intertwining Aaron's legend and Ceres's dream into the bright hope of a new generation. Sunflower yellow blooms cluster around them, framing the child in a halo of light and possibility. In the golden light of Republic Founders' Day, the Capitol Plaza hums with celebration. Marble fountains bubble crystal-clear water beneath fluttering banners of white and gold, brass bands drifting their jubilant notes across the sun-warmed stones. Amid the throng of citizens and uniformed cadets, a young recruit kneels before Ceres, helmet tucked respectfully under her arm. Wide shot, the plaza's sweeping arc, fountains catching sunlight in dancing prisms, crowds parting in reverence as the cadet bows. With earnest eyes that mirror the morning sky, the cadet's voice quavers through the hush. "Mistress, is it true the Guardian broke every law to save you?" Close-up split screen. The cadet's hopeful face on one side, Ceres's calm, teary smile on the other, golden banners rippling overhead. Ceres bends to meet the questioner's gaze, sunlight glinting off her polished breastplate. Her voice, soft as starlight, carries on the breeze. "He called me guardian, and in saving me, he saved us all." A collective hush spreads through the plaza. Merchants pause mid-step, children clutch their parents' hands, and even the brass quartet falls silent for a heartbeat. Medium shot, Ceres's eyes misting, crowds frozen in place, the morning breeze lifting stray ribbons of hair around her face. At the plaza's heart stands a crystalline reliquary on a raised dais, Aaron's bio-sigil bracelet suspended within. It pulses once with a gentle violet glow, as if echoing Ceres's words. Citizens gather round in silent awe, hands pressed over their hearts in solemn tribute. Close up, the bracelet's bioluminescent etchings casting soft violet light onto upturned faces, the reliquary's facets reflecting dawn's first rays. The cadet straightens, resolve blossoming in her eyes. "One day, I'll carry this light." A murmur of agreement ripples through the assembly, students, soldiers, and survivors alike raising their hands in promise. Crane pullback. Hundreds of cadets and citizens standing as one, hands extended toward the glowing reliquary, the plaza bathed in the soft glow of a new dawn. In that single whispered vow, past sacrifice and future hope converge, proof that even broken laws, when guided by grace, can birth a galaxy reborn.